What's up, guys? I'm Brian Altano. I'm here with Jose Otero.
What's up, man?
My man. Last night at the Nintendo investors meeting, President Satoru Iwata of Nintendo said they are revealing some new stuff that works cross-platform between the 3DS and the Wii U. Now, recently, we've been reading a lot about the 3DS and the Wii U sales and how Wii U is not doing so great. 3DS is doing a lot better, but neither of them are sort of through the roof. So it's kind of up to Nintendo to come up with some new ways for us to interact with these devices. One of them they're rolling out is this.
So Nintendo is looking for ways, essentially, to make money right now, right? I mean, Wii U is not doing very well on the market. We know that. 3DS is doing well, but it's not outpacing the DS for, I mean, obvious reasons, right?
Right.
Smartphones, other alternatives to the 3DS, etc., that were cheaper or offer free games. This platform that they're positioning is really interesting. Now, we heard about this before, and back in January it was mentioned. We saw the first figure last night. So you'll remember that near-field communication, we have a gamepad right here, right? Near-field communication is built into every gamepad, and it's essentially a sensor that will transfer a limited amount of data between, say, for example, Pokemon Rumble U, right? Which came out last year.
Yeah.
And it was sort of, you know, these figurines that carried stats with them. Nintendo is taking that idea a step further by saying, hey, why don't we create figures and then add additional features to games that will take advantage of these figures. So it's not tied to one game, it's tied to many games.
Right.
Very loose examples were presented as a result. But it is an interesting way to try the Disney Infinity / Skylanders formula, but apply it across a broader reach. And at the same time, it's leveraging and using characters that people recognize and love for
Which makes perfect sense, right? Because I mean, if you think about Skylanders and you think about, I mean, Disney Infinity did it to a much greater extent, but Skylanders used a lot of characters that people did not know. They weren't recognizable. And that went on to do incredibly well.
Yeah, it really started sort of its own little like figurine industry. And it's interesting to see Nintendo sort of approach this way because they have origins as a toy company at one point, right? I mean, right after Hanafuda cards and in
totally
between,
full circle for them.
Yeah, it's totally. Like. So, you know, we're here kind of theorizing, like, well, what does this mean, right? What games would sort of support this? I think one potential one, right off the bat, could be custom movesets in Smash Brothers. We know custom movesets are coming. Sakurai mentioned it in the last Direct for Smash Brothers.
Okay.
But there are very loose details on it. These figurines, if they're writing data to them, by the way, this figurine is not made by Nintendo. This was actually made by a company called Medicom in Japan. And it's just used as an example here. This is not one of them, whereas these are. But imagine playing Smash Brothers and going, okay, I'm going to transfer my custom movesets to this character and then take it to your house and play, because those are only used for friendly matches, obviously online friendly matches, but also locally. If I'm going to visit you, I want to be able to take some of that with me and maybe transfer that from system to system. This could be one way of leveraging it. We don't know that for sure. Sakurai made it very clear last E3 that they weren't really going for any sort of gimmicky things with the gamepad, but this is different. This is not really tied to the gameplay itself.
I was going to say that could be kind of divisive to, you know, hardcore Smash players or even casual Smash players like myself, where we know we're getting the game, we're going to buy the game, we have the console for it already. Everything's there already, right? But this could be something to add a little bit extra.
Well, yeah, and just the idea of custom movesets seems to tie very deeply to the idea of custom data being written to the figurines, and that's why I only use it as a loose example. We don't necessarily know this is 100%.
Now, you did mention that some of these figurines could be not only just cross-platform, but cross-game.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you did buy, say, for example, this Link figure, it could work in Smash Brothers, and it could work in something else they're working on entirely.
That's what's really cool. Right. Yeah, and there could be sort of a Skylander-style game as well. I mean, we don't know that, but you know, they seem to have that idea in mind.
If you're a 3DS fan, you'll be excited to know that this is going to work with your system too. And Nintendo showed this little disc peripheral that takes batteries, and that's all it is. It looks like a stack of cookies.
Yeah,
you just basically bring it with you anywhere, throw it in your pocket with your 3DS, bring these figures.
Yeah, and it'll transfer that data to the cartridge or the game that you're playing on the system. Yeah, and they'll roll that out in 2015. 2014, we'll see the first NFC products that will use these figurines, and then 2015 will be that.
So what else would you like to see these figurines for? Because I think that adding them to games that are already existing, it's cool. It adds value, and it's
the new games coming. You're right.
New games coming, but you know, what else do you think we could see?
I think a really smart move for them would be to use these also to leverage Virtual Console right now. Virtual Console is sort of you know, these vintage classic games that we all recognize, but right now they only live at a digital space. They live on the eShop. I mean, you can go to a retailer and buy point cards that you'll redeem on Virtual Console, but imagine if, again, take the Link figure example, I used this figure, I went and bought it, and I get the first Legend of Zelda on it or something like that, or the first Link to the Past.
Which is
maybe that changes the cost a little bit, and of course pricing is going to be a huge concern for something like this, especially if you're a huge collector. But that's a really great benefit, and it establishes a retail presence for games that you're selling anyway.
Yeah, it's a great point. You know, you're in Walmart with your kids and you're walking around and they're in the toy aisle and you look up and you see a statue of Mario. And you're like, wait a minute, that's really cool. And you look closer and it says, comes with the original game you grew up playing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you make the connection in your head. And you would never do that unless you're on the Virtual Console, on your 3DS or your Wii U. So this is a great way to establish, you know, presence.
Even if it's just exactly. Even if it's just a key or a code that comes with it, it doesn't matter. That gives it more value than just, hey, this is a really cool thing I can put on a table like we did right here.
Yeah. I mean, I want to mention too that if these came out in the 80s, my parents would be screwed.
Yeah.
Because I would have been coming to them every single day and, hey, can I have a couple bucks? Can I go get one of those toys? So if you're a dad right now,
we're sorry. Yeah, we're really sorry.
It's
true.
There.
No, definitely. Yeah, we'll see. At E3, make sure you check out IGN because we're going to have the first reveals and first details, right? Nintendo will be talking about what this is, so we'll be reporting on it.
So what kind of figures do you want to see in this line? Because I want Mario, I want Luigi.
That's the easy one.
Those are the easy ones.
Yeah, of course.
What else
I mean, Little Mac, right?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Although some folks would say that easy. I love to see some obscure Nintendo characters. But then you run into the trouble of, well, what if it's an IP that didn't make it over here? You know, like, for example, like in Nintendo Land, Muramasa's Castle, we never got the original game back in the original NES days, so most people didn't realize what exactly that was, Nazo Muramasa Joe. I'm not saying I want that figure, but I'm just saying I hope that they experiment and it's not just what, we normally see. And also, limited figures are going to drive collectors up the wall.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, and they could even, if this turns out to be successful, they could start partnering with third parties down the line and releasing some of their figurines to work and interface with Nintendo products. So you have huge potential here, huge potential for awesome gameplay stuff, for more money for Nintendo, which just means that they're funding more games and more things like that.
Yeah, they're hurting to make money right now, and this could be an interesting response to the Skylanders experiment. So let's see where it goes.
Are you buying me some?
Maybe. When's your birthday?
Not till March. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think of Nintendo's figurine platform, or the Nintendo Figurine Club, or the Near Field Communication, whatever you think NFC stands for.
Codename NFP.
Got it.
There you go.
Whatever you think it stands for. Jose's got answers. I got different answers. Let us know in the comments below. Tell us which figures you want to see in these upcoming products. And for all things Nintendo and video games in general, keep it locked right here to IGN.